I've always enjoyed watching people's desk setup tour videos. I remember when Instagram first came out, one of the first things that I did was to follow all the accounts that showcase different people's setups. Over the past year or so, I've been able to put a setup together and gotten a decent amount of equipment through my work. That means that hopefully this will be of interest to other people, just like other people's have been of interest to me. First off, the desk is from Flexispot, at least the base is. I reviewed this separately. It's the Flexispot E5 frame, and I've since, doing that review, put a custom top on it, and it's held up pretty well. The original top I had was just 120 centimeters, and this is nearly 2 meters, but it hasn't really struggled with that extra weight. The top itself is actually an old door, which I found lying around in a shed. I love that sort of look of the ridges rather than just having one solid slab. It's a really nice place to sit and to work. I love the colors in it, and also the little features you can see where the handles were taken off as well. Now I'm breaking with the norm here because I'm doing a desk setup tour and it doesn't feature a Herman Miller Aeron, which pretty much every desk setup tour seems to. For the moment, I've got this chair, which is from Orange Box. It's a bit broken actually, but until I can get something, probably the Steelcase Leap V2, which is the most comfortable chair I've tried out, then I'll stick with this one. My whole system is powered by a MacBook Pro. I've mounted the laptop closed underneath the desk. I use a mount from someone called 3 Leaves Design, which you can buy their products from eBay and Etsy. It was a little bit too big for the laptop itself, but I wanted that because I've put some foam pads around where you'd slide it in just so I'm not going to scratch the laptop. From the MacBook, everything flows through a USB hub, which is terrible, very flaky, definitely wouldn't recommend. It cost about 60 quid from Amazon by a company called Abiwazy, or at least that's the branding on it. But yeah, it gets very, very hot. Probably most concerned about the amount of heat that it generates. The monitors are from BenQ. They are 32 inches and 4K, and they're a good value option. They were pretty cheap at the time of purchase, and they're even cheaper now, I think. They are a significant upgrade on my old monitor, which was a very cheap option from AOC. I do find that the colors are still a little bit muted, and ideally I would like the monitors to go brighter than they do. The monitors are mounted using a desk mount from Envision, which works pretty well. I like the fact that it's got the USB hub on the front. I do find that handy. On top of the monitor in the middle, I've got the Logitech Brio 4K. This is a very good webcam, and when I bought it, it was one of the more expensive options, and it seems since then there's been a proliferation of new webcams from companies like Insta360 that are charging well over £300 for a webcam. So by that margin, this is looking like pretty good value for money. And my favourite part of the desk setup is actually the audio rig. For a mic, I've got the Shure SM7B, at least partly because it just looks really nice. But also I have found that in using it, it's quite transformative in terms of the quality of the audio that you can get out of it. And I'm not here in a treated room or anything, but the difference in the quality of the recordings that I get when I'm doing voiceovers for videos is amazing. And I definitely wouldn't be able to go back to anything else in the near future. The mic is mounted onto a boom arm from Gravity. This actually only came out right when I purchased the mic, which I was very glad of because I didn't like any of the other arms from Rode or Blue. But this is a fantastic boom arm. It's got great adjustments on it. You can set the tension exactly how you want it. Very easy and quick to get it in and then tidy it away when you're not using it. So I'm very glad that this came out. It's also got a 1/4 inch thread on the top, so you can very easily mount either a small camera to it, or in my instance I put a smartphone mount on there, and then I can use my phone for any top-down shots, so that's very handy. And then I have a cable running from that into the Universal Audio Vault 2. I've done a separate review on the Vault 2, so you can check that out, but effectively it's a lovely bit of kit. It does exactly what I need to, provides plenty of gain for the Shure SM7B. I've got it mounted under the desk with a 3 Leaves Design mount, same company that provided the one for the laptop. This would work with, I think, any audio interface. I use the audio interface with my Sennheiser HD400 Pros. Again, I've got a review on these. They've effectively ruined me for any other cheaper kind of headphones. I do have some noise cancelling ones, which I occasionally want to use from time to time, but the quality that you get from the Sennheisers means it's very difficult to switch to something else, even if sometimes I would quite like some noise cancellation. I keep both the headphones tucked away under the desk on a little mount, an aluminium mount which I got from Amazon actually. It's very nicely made, it's a very simple product but does exactly what I need it to. And then finally on the audio side, I'm using a Rotel amp with some RAM speakers. This is a bit of a vintage setup. It's not the most high-end sound. I imagine if you got something brand new made recently, then you'd get a cleaner sound, but I like it. It looks very nice and it works great for me. Along the back of the desk, I've got a light strip from TP-Link. Their brand is Tapo, and it works really nicely actually. I've seen people spend a lot more money on different light strips and then putting things on the back of the monitor as well to illuminate the space behind. I just ran this light strip along the back of the desk, and then there was enough on there to run it back up the monitor arm and onto the back of the monitor, so it illuminates the space behind, and it works really well for me. I mainly use it either on the setting that you can see now, or when I get to the end of my working day, I've just got it automatically set so it goes on the sunset mode, which just sort of gives me a natural reminder to finish work for the day. Yeah, I've been really pleased with it. It was a bit of a late addition. It's not very expensive. I think it cost about £15 from Amazon, and I don't really know why you'd want to spend a whole lot more than that. For cable management, which is one of my favourite subjects, sadly, it was actually very easy to manage the cables because the desktop itself, being a door, has naturally got some spaces that you can hide cables away. So that was a big advantage, and the desk frame as well had some space, so that hasn't really been a problem. I just bought a pack off Amazon to help me stick cables and hide them away in different places. And that's worked really well. In terms of accessories, this is something I'm building out a little bit at the moment. I kind of left it completely minimal to start with, but then realized that I found that a bit boring. So I've just put a few hardback books on the desk, and then I've got a couple of other little lenses on the other side. You can leave me a comment if you've got any suggestions for things that you think would look nice on the desk. I'd like to build that out over time. But I've got a desk mat from DotGrid, which is a nice cheapish option. I'm also using their black notebook, which matches the desk mat nicely. I like that experience of using the white ink on the black paper. There's just something nice and unique about using it. I think it actually makes my handwriting look a bit more tidy as well. The keyboard and mouse are both from Logitech. I've reviewed these separately. The keyboard is the Logitech Craft, which I've still got. I would like to ideally move away from it because I still find it's not really of any use to me. But Apple, for some reason, don't make a black version of their Touch ID keyboard in the small form factor. So until they do that, I'm just going to stick with the Craft. I have looked at mechanical keyboards, but so far I've resisted going down that black hole of sort of endless money that you can throw in that direction. The mouse is the MX Master 3. I don't see the need at the moment to upgrade to the 3S. Now, there are always things that could be better in life and in desk setups, but I think it's a bit crazy for me to complain about the solidity of my monitor arm when I look at the amount of tech that I'm blessed to use on a daily basis. It's great to have amazing kit to use, but it's also challenging when I look at what other creators are achieving on a lot less. So while gear is great and it definitely has helped my productivity and the enjoyment of the work that I do, don't think you need everything in order to be able to create amazing content. If you follow me on Twitter, I'm going to be detailing a little bit more about parts of the desk setup and also what I do over time to improve it. So if you've got any questions, then you can feel free to leave a comment here or ask me on Twitter. Thanks for watching.